I've heard your story about why you became a content creator. What was that aha moment when the switch turned and you realized you needed to create your own content and build your own personal brand?
Yeah, this is such a good question. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, Jonathan, this really means the world to me. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and just how talented and how fast you're going to rise the ranks here in this kind of sort of ecosystem, the online content creation, online business space. Yeah, I have been in business my whole life. I was in, I like to consider myself a very creative person too. Like I've written books, short stories, poems, really bad poetry. And, I played music for a long time in a band. So combining those two, I never really had a traditional job like ever in my life because even being a professor of business communications and business writing, I was never a full-time tenured professor. So I was more of an adjunct professor where I basically it was like being an entrepreneurial professor. I was kind of on my own, kind of left alone for the most part. I didn't have to go to all those boring departmental meetings. And for the most part, if I kept my hands clean, I was pretty much running my own shop, so to speak. Obviously you have to adhere to certain, faculty and department guidelines, etc. But I went into being a professor because I loved communication, I loved business, I loved art, and I didn't want to do the traditional job, and I thought, what a cool thing! I could supplement my income and teach on the side. And then it turned into I was teaching, because they don't pay adjunct professors anything. I mean, literally nothing. They exploit adjunct professors. I started teaching like 10, 15, sometimes even more than that classes a semester just to make ends meet. And I was what they call a freeway flyer. I would go to this university, that university, from 8 to 10 work at Cal State Fullerton, and then 9 to 10 go to, Saddleback or go to IVC, then Chapman. I was literally a freeway flyer. That's what they called us. And then, Facebook, YouTube, and all these amazing platforms started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they became more on my radar around 2015, 2016. Snapchat came out. Snapchat was really, really popular. And I noticed this opportunity where, not only is this where the attention is going, not only is this important from a communication standpoint and a business standpoint, but I felt this is something that I could do, that I could really bring value to these platforms. And what really was the tipping point, Jonathan, was when I had a student come up to me. I know you've heard me say this on Clubhouse before, but I had a student come up to me and say, Professor Nez, and I have a history of, really a kind of a hate-hate relationship. It's not even a love-hate relationship with the university system, especially in North America. And we don't even need to get into that unless you want to. I mean, it's kind of a long story, but basically I've felt the university system underserving students for decades, if not longer. Professor Nez, I just paid $100,000, this student told me, for a piece of paper, AKA a degree, and nobody will hire me. What do I do? And I was just blown away that this endearing, sincere, young person just trying to get their life started, she had no clue where to go. She didn't understand because what she'd been traditionally told was that you go, get educated, get a degree, get a 4-year degree, and then you get a job, you raise a family, and that's it. That's the formula. It just doesn't work that way because, I knew in my heart, after being in the educational system for a long time, after leaving the private sector from my mom's business, I knew that these students weren't getting the real world skills. That was the tipping point. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my YouTube channel. It is going to be the best educational channel on YouTube, helping people like my students, career professionals, entrepreneurs, anybody build their brand, get real world life skills so they can go out there and be successful, both in their personal life and in their professional life. And obviously there's been a lot of different amalgamations and pivots and, just natural adjustments and modifications. But the real brunt of what I want to do online, Jonathan, and I think you can get a taste of this from my shows, I love inspiring people. I thirst for inspiration. I die for inspiration. I don't ever want to teach anybody anything. I want to inspire people, because when you teach somebody, or when you say, I'm going to teach you something, the first thought is, oh, great. This guy's going to try to school me or whatever. But when you get inspired, you become inflamed with purpose. And I know this because the people who changed my life were not teachers, artists, musicians, what have you. They may have had that as a title, but what they really were at their core was they were inspirers. And I vowed to be that, because I remember being in my depths of darkness and my depths of hell, dealing with the dude inside my head, and just all the other kind of obstacles in life, that the inspirers were the ones who created that bridge over troubled water, so to speak. And so that's what I wanted to be. I just wanted to be another link in the chain. And it's really proven to be a beautiful thing. Some of the responses I've gotten, it's just blown me away. And I've been able to create a sustainable income from this. I mean, more than sustainable income. And I'm here to share, hopefully, how I did that, because a lot of you guys listening and watching might think that you need to have, 1,000 million this subscriber, follower, what have you. I'm living proof you don't need any of that.
If you want more expert interviews and valuable content, check out the Entrepreneur's Toolbox podcast playlist right here on your favorite podcast provider, and I will see you in the next one.